This Family Life News podcast is made possible by the support of listeners like you.
Next on the 5 o'clock report.
President Trump, he's got to guard against making concessions to Putin.
The average daily cost of a brown bag lunch is currently $6.15.
I promised him I would skate across America to raise money for his recovery.
Now, let's go to the newsroom.
Good afternoon and welcome to the broadcast. I'm Family Life News anchor Sarah Harnish. Ending a war. President Trump is in a closed-door meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin at this hour. He spoke to reporters before going in.
We get along. There's a good respect level on both sides, and I think, something's going to come of it.
John Sullivan is the former U.S. ambassador to Russia.
President Trump, he's got to guard against making concessions to Putin that are going to alienate our European allies and really do political damage to himself here in the United States.
CBS News contributor and former Trump National Security Advisor General H.R. McMaster says Putin will try to drag out the war in Ukraine for months.
He won't stop until he is stopped. And I think that is going to have to involve, and this is probably what's likely going to develop over the next few months, is to impose costs on him that convince him that he cannot continue the war.
In the nation's capital today, residents protested U.S. Attorney General Pam Bondi. The city is in court at this hour after Bondi named the head of the Drug Enforcement Administration as D.C.'s new emergency police commissioner. This as National Guard troops continue to patrol the streets. Correspondent Scott McFarland.
Federal law enforcement, who by the hundreds are out in Washington, D.C., and they're going in to more high crime areas. And that's where things have started to pop off a bit.
Bondi was asked by President Trump to clean up the crime in Washington, D.C. In the Atlantic, Hurricane Erin is approaching Puerto Rico and the U.S. Virgin Islands. Meteorologist Craig Allen.
So there will be the threat of dangerous rip currents. And I'm sure red flags will be flying at all the beaches from the southern portion of Florida and the Keys all the way on up the eastern seaboard through the mid-Atlantic states into the upper mid-Atlantic states.
California Governor Gavin Newsom is calling for a special election November 4th. It's to approve new congressional maps that make that deep blue state even bluer. The pro-Democrat maps are being rolled out today in Sacramento.
We're doing this in reaction to a president of the United States that called a sitting governor of the state of Texas and said, find me 5 seats.
He says California's map will give Democrats 5 additional seats in Congress. California Republican Congressman Kevin Kiley says this sort of redistricting retaliation sets a dangerous precedent.
We see this sort of escalating redistricting war continue to cascade across the country. I think it's going to be total chaos. District lines are going to be shifting. It's going to create great instability, which is why I've introduced legislation in the House that will stop this scheme from moving forward in California, but will also stop similar schemes or similar mid-decade redistricting efforts in every state.
New York Governor Kathy Hochul is also threatening to redraw congressional lines in favor of Democrats. New York lawmakers are considering a bill that would limit political activity for nonprofits, including churches. Here's Family Life's Mark Webster.
Yeah, Democrats backing the proposal are calling it the Nonpartisan Pulpit Act. It seeks to keep churches and charities from participating in political campaigns. It's in response to changes in long-standing federal policy on such matters. Last month, the IRS declined to enforce a rule known as the Johnson Amendment, which threatens the loss of tax-exempt status over political involvement. Opponents have long argued that amendment, which dates back to the 1950s, violates First Amendment protections for free speech and religion. The proposed New York law would carry many of the same restrictions as the Johnson Amendment, but make it enforceable at the state level. Mark Webster, Family Life News.
Artificial dyes will no longer be used in Kellogg's cereals by the end of 2027. In a statement, the maker of Fruit Loops, Apple Jacks, Frosted Flakes, and Rice Krispies say they're making changes to their line of cereals to include less of what customers don't need while adding more whole grains and fiber. The change comes as Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. seeks to crack down on synthetic food additives. And a new study shows shows those school lunches you'll be making soon will be a bit pricier to prepare than the lunches you made last year.
Deloitte calculated the average daily cost of a brown bag lunch is currently $6.15. That's about 3% more expensive when compared to the start of the 2024 school year.
CBS business reporter Kelly O'Grady.
What the study calls a classic lunch, which includes a PB&J sandwich and milk. While the classic is still a relatively cheap option at less than $5, it runs 6% more than last year, and that's driven by the higher cost of items like jelly, apples, and those single-serve milk cartons.
Still to come on the 5 o'clock report, a little staycation destination idea to a special spot in Rochester, New York, as you soak up the last few drops of summer, and the woman that skateboarded across America. Those stories after weather.
I'm Kevin Williams, and here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. The weekend is here, and it's going to be heating up, with temperatures heading toward 90 in spots tomorrow, with sun and a small risk of a thunderstorm. There will be a better chance of a couple showers and thunderstorms Sunday as a cold front moves into the area. Here is the call for tonight. There'll be an isolated evening shower, thunder shower, in some parts of central and eastern Pennsylvania. Otherwise, it'll be clear to partly cloudy tonight. Low temps in the 60s, not as cool as last night for many. For tomorrow, good deal of sunshine, small chance though of a pop-up thunderstorm in the afternoon across central or eastern Pennsylvania or the eastern southern tier of New York, high in the 80s. Sunday, variably cloudy, a few scattered showers and thunderstorms, highs ranging from the mid-70s along the south shore of Lake Ontario to near 90 in some parts of central and eastern Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Kevin. On deck next, highlights from today's Staycations feature. Our own Mark Webster spoke with Sarah Poe, the Senior Vice President for Marketing and Guest Experiences at the Strong National Museum of Play in Rochester, New York. She says Strong started out as something quite different. Let's listen in.
We're lucky enough actually to have an amazing benefactor, Margaret Woodbury Strong, who was an incredible collector of many things, and she chartered what was to become a museum of fascination. It was to house her collection, and pretty quickly we learned that a museum with a bunch of collector things wasn't necessarily gonna be the big draw that we needed it to be. So we've gone through multiple iterations. Now we do have a very important mission that is all surrounded by play. We are technically chartered actually as a history museum. Sometimes people think we're chartered as a children's museum, but because we are so highly interactive and because play inherently leads us towards children, it's a logical conclusion, but we are actually chartered as a history museum.
Okay, so who had the brainchild to do the whole play concept?
The play concept was really a combination of people. Our previous CEO, Raleigh Adams, and our leadership team at the time really took the museum to a place in 1982 when we originally opened to where we are today. Our most recent expansion is our third expansion, potentially our largest. It includes a very large parking garage. It includes an additional 90,000 square feet of admissions and 2 large exhibits. And it includes some additional collection storage for the museum as well, and is now part of what is called the Neighborhood of Play. The Neighborhood of Play is a combination of 3 really vested entrepreneurs who wanted to make sure that downtown Rochester continued to be vibrant and accessible. And so it is the Strong National Museum of Play. It is Indus Hospitality, which owns a Hampton Inn that is right across the street from us, and Konar Properties, which is apartments, condos, that are also in the Neighborhood of Play. And we're just thrilled to be able to offer such a safe, welcoming environment for families.
Whoever came up with the idea, they hit the jackpot. It's called the National Museum of Play, and it really has become a national thing. It's got a reputation well beyond Rochester now.
It does. Thank you. We think so as well. But we get visitors every year from all 50 states and all 6 continents. So this year, we will be over 700,000 visitors a year. We will probably encroach 750,000 visitors. So we are definitely growing, and we are working to appeal to as many families and individuals as we can. Play is for everyone, really.
Yeah, that's the beautiful thing about it. Play, I guess, means different things to different age groups. Let's go down to a little virtual tour as somebody walks in here. It's a big place. Some of the highlights, the things that they're going to be able to see and do as they walk through the doors.
There's a lot of staples that have been here, and you'll find them still here, right? We still have our incredible Sesame Street exhibit where you can have your picture taken on the stairs of Sesame Street, and that's iconic to us. Many, many people remember that from their youth, bringing their kids. Now they're bringing their grandkids. Sesame Street is iconic. Our Wegmans exhibit, our miniature grocery store. I can't tell you the number of times I hear people say that that's their favorite exhibit in the museum. It is still here.
Wegmans fame is also spread well beyond Rochester.
It sure is. It is still here and still running strong. We have a new home with our newest expansion for our World Video Game Hall of Fame. We also are home to the World Video Game Hall of Fame. And our exhibit High Score showcases that in a really special way. So being able to see the previous inductees and play most of them is a highlight for a lot of folks. Wildlife and animal play is another element that you'll be able to see here in the Butterfly Garden. That is always a highlight of visitors. And also part of our newest expansion is our Hasbro Game Park. And that's an outdoor exhibit focused on outdoor play, but it all has a theme of different Hasbro games. So in there you're going to find a gigantic Scotty dog from the Monopoly board. You're going to have a spinner from the game of life. You're going to be able to play a virtual game of Trivial Pursuit as you walk around. So being able to bring that outdoor element to the Play Museum has been really special too.
I saw some Lego stuff too. That certainly is a hot commodity these days.
Always. Lego continues to be popular with adults and children alike. There are many adults now that spend quite a long time putting together Legos.
Oh, yeah, I'm among them. It's just a very relaxing.
Absolutely.
I grew up with it, and it's still got an appeal.
Absolutely.
So let's talk a bit more about the video games. I know that you mentioned before that's a huge part of the draw. Even though the games have morphed over the years to maybe something a little different than what we grew up with, there's still a universal appeal to all of them.
There really is. And our two newest exhibits that are part of our most recent expansion, High Score, which I mentioned that is home to our World Video Game Hall of Fame, is one of those. The other exhibit is Level Up. And in Level Up, you actually get to become a character in a video game. So when you walk into the exhibit, you're given a free RFID bracelet. You get to create your own caricature, and you get to walk around and experience physically a lot of the fun elements of different video games as you go through the exhibit. Kids love it. Adults love it. It's very unique. There's nothing like it anywhere else. So that's been a real draw.
That's Sarah Poe, Senior Vice President for Marketing and Guest Experiences for the Strong National Museum of Play in Rochester, New York. You can subscribe, listen to, and share Staycations and all of Family Life's original podcasts at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or at familylife.org.
Have you been treated unfairly? Hi, I'm Rob West with today's Faith and Finance Minute. We all experience mistreatment at times, whether at work, in relationships, or with money. Joseph knew that pain well. Betrayed by his brothers and wrongly imprisoned, he still chose to trust God. Rather than going after them with bitterness, he tells his brothers in Genesis 50, verse 20, "You meant evil against me, but God meant it for good." Money can stir strong emotions when we're wronged, especially if we've been underpaid or defrauded. It's right to pursue justice, but we're called to do so with humility and grace, not vengeance. Jesus, the innocent one, endured the ultimate injustice on the cross, and yet he prayed, "Father, forgive them." When we're wrong, let's respond like Christ with courage and grace. We can help you learn to manage your money according to biblical principles when you download the free FaithFi app. You'll find it on our website at faithfi.com.
Coming up on the 5 o'clock report, how long do you think it would take you to skateboard across the United States? One woman wraps it up today. We got her story after weather with Kevin.
Here is your Family Life regional weather forecast. It'll be clear to partly cloudy tonight. Low temps in the 60s. Not as cool as last night for many. For tomorrow, good deal of sunshine. Small chance, though, of a pop-up thunderstorm in the afternoon across central or eastern Pennsylvania or the eastern southern tier of New York. High in the 80s. Sunday, variably cloudy. A few scattered showers and thunderstorms. Highs ranging from the mid-70s along the south shore of Lake Ontario to near 90 in some parts of central and eastern Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Kevin. Finally, at 5, the first woman to skateboard across America will finish her journey today. Brooke Johnson is expected to arrive in Virginia Beach right about now. City officials are closing streets ahead of her arrival to allow spectators to watch the historic finish. Johnson says she made the journey in honor of her stepdad, who passed away from a spinal cord injury.
I promised him I would skate across America to raise money for his recovery. But unfortunately, we lost him during that period of time. And I had told him I would get a world record in his name. I'd never felt closer to him than now, because there's constantly like things going wrong on the trip, and then the solution comes instantly. And so we just feel like we got an angel out here.
Johnson began the trip 118 days ago in Venice Beach, California, and has raised nearly $50,000 for spinal cord research along the way. And that's the world that we live in for Friday, the 15th of August. I'm Sarah Harnish, and this is the 5 o'clock report on Family Life.
Thank you for listening to this Family Life News podcast. If you've been encouraged by what you've heard, please share it with others and click the subscribe button to automatically receive future episodes. Family Life is a listener-supported ministry. Podcasts like this are made possible by your financial partnership. Find out more at familylife.org.